Okay.
There you are.
Yeah, it's holding. Great, great. So
Yeah.
nice to meet you. So do you
Um,
pronounce your
yeah,
name Keo? Is that how you pronounce it?
Here, yes.
Keo. Okay. So
Yes.
I'm Zara Kabiri.
Yes.
Nice to meet your acquaintance. So what would you like to discuss today? Tell me.
Um, Open discussion. Tell tell me about you.
Oh, that's a long-winded question. It's 50 years worth of history. What do you want to know about specifically? What's your,
Um,
is this
I've
about
I've
nas-
I've realized you have a keen interest in narcissistic abuse,
Okay.
which I think is where we connect.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's focus on that. Yeah, I'm interested actually in psychology. I'm
Mm,
interested in creating businesses for ladies, especially like stay-at-home mums who are
mhm.
struggling to feel their worth because we often pick up pants and socks and then the husbands thinks we don't do anything and then they come home, put their feet up and then they expect us to serve them. Yeah. Like we disappear. Okay.
Yeah.
And often what happens then is, if we're not happy, then we can't serve our children. We can't serve, our community, our family, right? I
Mm,
went through that myself. And it
yeah.
gets to the point where we go, I can't do this anymore, right? You're all just taking from me. You're all just
Yeah.
taking from me. And then we
Yeah.
start self-projecting. But what we've done is we've put ourselves out too much for everybody, and then we blame them when we've all,
Yes.
yeah. And that's, I think, the point I was trying to get at. And then we go around blaming each other, saying he's a narcissist, she's a narcissist. But are we really?
Yeah.
Or have we forgotten to take care of ourselves? So I talk about
Uh,
human values. And what I
yes.
really want to do is find people's passion, find their what it is they love doing, and then finding a purpose that they find, and then help them grow in it. Okay. But at the same time, we need to acknowledge where we are the problem ourselves, where we've created the problems for ourselves. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So the whole narcissistic thing comes like, well, what is narcissism? And at
No,
what
I think
start calling someone a narcissist. So that's how the whole subject started with me,
yes.
because I started looking around, going, well, there were people who were hurting me, but then some of it was in retaliation, some of it was because they didn't understand me, some of it was because I allowed them to, right? And so they thought I
Yes.
was happy to give. And then I blame them later. But I
Yes.
understand now that narcissism is the kind of it's a thought process really, right, that we go to,
Yeah.
and the type of people who go to that thought process of being destructive to upset other people, and they feel happy about being there, not
Oh
feeling
yeah.
guilty.
That gives
That's what
them
I call
fuel.
a narcissist. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I understand. We tend to kind of abuse that word
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because if you and I do not get along, then I call you a narcissist,
Yeah,
which is not it. It's
no,
not it.
yeah.
It's just you're talking about a serious disorder.
Yeah. A lack of understanding. It's a lack of
Yes.
understanding, meeting each other's needs. One
Yes.
person ends up giving, the other person will takes because I think it's coming freely. Then
Yeah.
suddenly, out of
Yeah.
nowhere, they have this massive shock, and then there's this conflict. And then the conflict
Yes.
escalates, and then someone ends up hurting the other one to get the other one back. And then we go, oh, then that's a narcissist. And it gets uglier and
Yes.
uglier and uglier to the point
Yes.
people end up in court fighting over their kids. They do end up in places where, well, you're hurting your kids, but half the time it's surviving, isn't it? You can't give what you don't have, basically. And we all need that human connection. We all need to feel like we are wanted, that we are appreciated. And if that's not
Yeah.
happening, the man that comes back from work is going to think I'm doing this for nothing. I can
Yeah.
understand his point of view. The mum who's staying at home is going, well, I've given up my best years so that you can provide for this family. I've done all these other things. I've brought up your kids. Why don't you appreciate me? And the kids are looking at mummy and daddy going, don't you love me? Why are you doing this? This is not a
Yeah.
safe
Yeah.
environment for me. And so they
Yeah.
see the children
Yeah.
depreciating, and then they go, okay, let's get divorced. And then they start fighting over the kids. And this just drags on and on and on. But narcissism, why do we have narcissists? Okay. I believe it's been people who've been hurt. Yeah. And they're somehow
You
are
hurt to hurt.
hurt. Hurt. They are people who have been hurt. They are attention seeking in some manner. Okay. Any attention's better than that.
Yes.
Yeah. And so they want to get
Actually, it
attention.
goes two way.
Yeah.
It goes two way. You either go that destructive route, or you go the compassionate route. There's no middle ground.
Yeah. Yeah. Some people
Unfortunately.
overgive. Yeah, I do get that too. And that can
Yes.
be
Yes.
enabling. Yeah. That
Yes. Yes.
becomes
People
enabling,
pleasing and so on.
which is takes me on to the intangible driver stuff I mentioned earlier. We sometimes we call
Yes.
it the ice cream test, sometimes we call it the coffee test, sometimes we
Mm-hmm.
call it the unique factor test. But all
Mm-hmm.
that does is sets us in a scene of a coffee shop now. It used to be the ice cream parlor. It's changed, so
Yeah.
that's why it's got
Yeah.
different names. And it goes, you're with somebody and they drop their coffee or they drop their ice cream or they drop something. Okay. What is it you would want to say or do? Yeah. Not what you expect everyone else wants to hear. What is it you would love to, want to? Yeah, naturally. Would you rather they knew they dropped their coffee, for instance? Or would you rather they understood why they dropped their coffee? Right. And this all goes back to intrinsic, intangible drivers, like what's driving us individually. Like some people are born teachers, they want you to understand. Some people are more compassionate, right? They want to replace the blooming coffee, even if they don't have money themselves. They'd probably go without lunch to buy you this coffee, and then you will never know why it happened. You'll never grow, and you keep doing it again and again and again. Yeah. And I think that's what's taken us back to, we talked about the compassionate route. Yeah. And it's
Yes.
understanding you can be compassionate and help other people grow still, right?
Yes.
And it's being
Yes.
aware of our flaws to go, okay, I have a natural habit of doing this. But is that really being kind if they're going to forever
Yes.
drop their coffee? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So I love to encourage people to sit their intangible driver test, for them to understand what it is that's driving us, where these flaws are, and where can we correct that so we have a positive impact on the world. Because whatever you give comes back eventually. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And we go, do you want to be judged on your intention, or do you want to be judged on your behavior? Right. But who's going to know what your intention is? Yeah. You think you're being kind. It doesn't come across that way long term for that
Yes.
individual who's always dropped their coffee.